My entitled sister demanded all my $300K inheritance, because it's only fair as she has kids. She then SLT shamed me, joked about my SA, assaulted me while knowing I'm pregnant, called my son a R-word, lied about my 2-year-old nephew needing heart surgery to steal my money, and now told me to unalive my unborn baby and myself. But my 2 male figures have silver spines and have nuked her life. I see why my boss hates my twin sister so much. So my brother, my older sister, my twin sister, and I were out for brunch, and we started talking about money. My twin sister exclaimed how she is so happy to get that $100,000 when I'm 25. I asked what she was talking about and said, "You know, you're getting $300K from that white man, right? I can't wait for my share." That white man was my boss's father. He was the sweetest, bad-arse little old Dutch man you ever met. He treated me like one of his grandchildren, and when he died, he left me $300K in his will. I'm supposed to be getting it when I'm 25 years old, and the only rule to it was in my AITA words, "Don't be selfish with it, ladybug." So I was planning on keeping $100K for myself, $100K for my mother, and splitting the last $100K between my 3 siblings. But my twin sister was bothering me since she found out about the money, saying how I should give her the whole $100,000 because she is a mother with 2 kids. So when my sister said that, my other 2 siblings said, "It's not fair that my twin sister is getting the whole $100,000 that they have to share." I reminded them about the money situation, and I told my twin that no, she is not getting the whole $100,000. She is splitting it between the other 2, and I already told her already. She started whining about how unfair that mom is getting $100,000 by herself. I remind my sister that our mom deserves that money more than any of us at that table, and that she hasn't had a car, a vacation, or a firm mattress in years, and that she deserves that money because she took care of snot-nosed bratses. Well, my twin sister started arguing with me, saying that she should get the whole $100K, and I split my $100K between our other 2 siblings and let her have the $100K to herself, or let all of them have $100K to themselves. I said, "What the hell about mom and me?" My sister reminded me that I have $65K in the bank at the moment, and that I should use that for me and mom. Now, dear reader, I only have $65K in my bank account, because I saved up money from my jobs for college funds, and my boss gave me $50K to my college for Christmas. I told my sister that I'm not touching that money. It is for my college, and that I work hard for my money. My sister laughed, saying that watching 4 kids and sucking DCK isn't hard working. My family's dirt poor, and I have to do what I need to do to survive, I will admit, and I have done some odd jobs here and there. But I have been through hell and back working for this damn family, to a point where I lost my mind. I'm in therapy for what I've been through. You're probably wondering, "AmITheA, why did you stay if you're going to so much SHT? Find me a job that's offering $400 every week." My sister knows about what I've been through working for my boss's family. All my siblings know now. So my brother told me my twin sister shut the hell up, and that I don't have to give her anything. My older sister said, "If you're that desperate for money, why not sell the other car?" My boss gave my twin a car because he has a soft spot for my nephews. The old car was too small. My twin sister remarked that the car is not worth SHT, and how she got more money by selling my nephew's chair. My heart sank because somehow I knew what she was talking about, and in my head I was just screaming, "Please don't let it be the chair that my AITA made for my nephew. Please don't let it be the chair that my AITA made for my nephew. Please don't let it be the chair that my AITA made for my nephew." My older sister asks, "What chair?" "You know, the white chair with the pterodactyl on it that AmITheA's grandpa made," my twin sister replied. I was furious. I asked how she could sell my AITA chair. It was a gift for my nephew. She didn't have the right to sell it. My sister exclaimed how she is my nephew's mother, and that whatever he owns is hers. I asked how much she made selling my grandpa's chair. She said just $30 because the wood was good quality. I wanted to strangle her with her stupid ascot because my grandpa was an amazing woodcarver. That was his passion when he retired, and he spent his last 20 years perfecting his skill and craftsmanship. He will take old pieces of furniture, make them new again, and give them away to homeless shelters or people in need. If you were having a baby, I would make you a little merry-go-round things for cribs out of good wood for free. My grandpa donated a lot of his money to people who needed it more than him. He was an amazing parent, and there's a plaque in his hometown square dedicated to my grandpa. So I started screaming, "Are you freaking stupid? $30. It was worth way more than that." My sister said it wasn't worth that much because it was unfinished. Then my twin sister proceeded to berate grandfather, calling him lazy and unprofessional. and that he did a SHT job with the paint. Do you want to know why my grandpa couldn't finish the chair that he made for my nephew? It's because he got cancer and died shortly after starting the chair. So it's not painted properly and only has one little bad pterodactyl on it. And my twin sister knew about the whole chair situation. And I came to realize my twin sister was just a bee. And in that moment, it was like a pair of red sunglasses being left from my eyes, and I saw all the red flags that she produced. I finally truly understand how my boss sees her. She's an ungrateful evil bee. I understand why my boss called her the 2.0 version of his daughter. I understand now, I see now, what he meant when my boss said, "Why do you give a SHT about her? She's just going to hurt you in the end." It all makes sense to me. For years this summy bee tortured me, effing me up physically and mentally. She will admit that she tortured me and laugh and play it off like it was a joke. I had to walk on eggshells around her, to the point where I wouldn't even talk around her, because I was afraid to say something stupid. I remember now, as I type this out, that I actually told my sister about what Lucifer did to me, the name I give my boss's brother, and she made jokes about it, not once but twice. When I try to confide in my effing twin sister, she makes jokes about me being forced to give an oral, and she won't kiss me on the face anymore because I don't want my lips to get pregnant, or when she starts calling me Deacon Butt. I know how it could look like a weird name if you don't read too much into it. Hell, my mom thought it was a weird version of chicken butt. No, it was my sister making fun of me for getting sod. So I was boiling at this point. So when she said, "Oh, I also hate his name, Warlock," I couldn't stand that name. And also he could have left something in his will for me. I was around him too, you know? Warlock wasn't my grandfather's real name. That's the name of the immediate family. Call him because he really couldn't stand his first name. And now I'm pregnant. And if I'm having a boy, I'm going to name my child after my grandfather. I love that man so much. So when she said all of that SHT, it pushed me over the edge. I grabbed my cup full of apple juice and dumped it right over her head. I started screaming, and I left, cursing her out in Dutch. I was crying on the highway when I called my fiancé to pick me up. I cried, I explained what happened, and he was just as pissed as I was because that was his actual biological grandfather. My boss was pissed. He wanted to confront my sister, but I told him not to. At the moment, I don't want to talk to any of my family. I'm just going to try to drown myself in lemon Oreos. My sister keeps texting me, saying how sorry she is, and that she didn't mean to make me upset. She realizes I'm the one with the money. But my brother texted me, saying not to accept her apology because she remembered I'm marrying into the rich. I understand how I wasted my youth tending to her every need and want. I'm done being her effing doormat. She's not invited to my wedding. I want my nephews. I have a relationship with my children, but I don't want her in my life, and I'm not giving her any money. I'm about to go cry myself into a vegetative state with snacks. I know it wasn't my right to be upset by the chair, but I have memories of watching my grandfather make chairs, so it hurts a lot. And I like to point out that anything with my grandfather's signature of business on it is worth at least $1,000 unfinished or not. Edit. I know I shouldn't have ran my mouth about the money, but I thought I could trust them with that fact because they're my family and all. I'm going to make a college fund for my nephews. She is not getting a penny of that damn money. My mom is mad at me because my sister's family is struggling and money will come in handy down in the future. But as my grandpa once said, sometime BEs need to keep their mouths shut. The people who said that I'll be disrespecting my grandfather if I give my sister that money, thank you for making me see that. She's not getting SHT from me. Also, I might want to add this here. My sister is married, and I feel so sorry for her husband. The only reason she needs money is because she keeps throwing parties and events. Edit 2. Her husband called, apologized for his wife's actions. I told him all the bull his wife pulled, and that I don't want my twin sister in my life anymore. But I want a relationship with my nephews. We're going to sit down and talk this out tomorrow. I'm going back to sleep. Edit 3. It's 4 a.m, and y'all comments are lovely, very lovely, and they're very eye-opening. And I realized my family is a lot more effed up than I believe. It's just my boss's family, but we're black and poor. My twin sister hurt me a lot more than I realized. She makes fun of me for being sod when she did it to me herself when we were children. It's funny in the funked up way. My mom is not off the hook either. When she found out, I was forced to forgive my sister. Understand why? Because she felt guilty and she was crying. But because it was years ago, I love my mom, and she did get better over the years. But she's so much of a rug sweeper that is making me so angry. So when I asked to give a therapist because, and I quote, I'm your therapist even though my mom has a part of the problem. And when I got a therapist, I wasn't allowed to talk about my self-harming. The boss got me a new therapist now. And when I told my mom about self-harming, she was worried, as a mom should. But she also told me not to do it ever again because, and I quote, "It is white people SHT." Yes, me cutting myself and choking myself with a belt is white people SHT apparently. The only meeting that we're having tomorrow is that I want my grandfather chair back. My sister isn't getting SHT from me, and I'm just going to buy my mom the things she needs. I can't go back to sleep now, so me and my boss are playing Minecraft. Going to talk to my therapist in the morning because I opened up some old wounds and they refuse to close. I need to be properly healed because I can't stop crying. My family is so effed up. Oh, my life is a Tyler Perry movie, and I hate it. I'll watch the SHT out of it, but I hate it. Lol. Also, I should have had my mother never told me I have autism. I don't know why she decided not to tell me, but she never told me. Update. So we talked today. It was a SHT show. So my boss, let's call him Mr. Smith. Actually, having used that name for him in a while, my fiancé Oz, Mr. Smile's nephew. And I sit down with my twin sister TS and her husband H. Oz and Mr. Smith are pissed because my sister disrespected their father or grandfather. And right off the back, my sister started apologized, saying she didn't mean to hurt my feelings. She should have realized she was just being selfish, but she didn't. She was boohooing and saying how we are sisters, and we shouldn't have some money left to get between us. Yada yada. And like the dumbass I am, I ate it up. I start crying hard. She got up to hug me, and I was about to do the same thing. But Mr. Smith grabbed my arm and set me back down and said, "Don't fall for it, B, don't change." H snapped at Mr. Smith, telling him not to call his wife a B. Oz told me not to give a damn because TS just tried to manipulate me like she always has. And remember that she sold our Opus chair. I was like, yeah, she sold my Opus chair. I asked who TS sold the chair to, and that I was willing to pay money for it to get it back. And like the greedy bee she is, my sister gave up the information with ease. She sold it to one of H's cousins, but H exclaimed how it was too late, and that the chair was already a wooden ring, and he showed us a picture of it on his phone. My boss was screaming at him, and H was confused. He said that my sister already had my boss's permission to sell the chair. We just looked at TS. TS started crying more, apologizing, saying that if she would ask, we would say no. So much yelling. It was going back and forth. Mr. Smith and Oz were calling my sister a B, saying how she's a liar, and H was trying to settle all of them down. Then my sister realized I wasn't talking and got mad at me, saying how I could sit there and let them berate her and not defend her. I wasn't saying anything because I'm an afraid little girl. I'm still afraid of my twin sister. I started shaking and crying, and Oz and Mr. Smith started freaking out, trying to calm me down because one, stress on the baby isn't good, and two, the last time I freaked out was really bad, to the point I bit down on my hand. I have pica and broke the skin. I also have autism, so yeah, me freaking out won't be good. My baby didn't like what I ate this morning and tried to force it back up, so I vomited all over my sister's pants. She ran to the kitchen sink, while I ran to the kitchen garbage to vomit. I started crying today because I hate vomiting, and my sister was screaming at me because I vomited on her expensive pants and calling me a effing idiot. Oz yelled, "She's pregnant, you moron." Everyone stopped and looked at me, and I looked at Oz because we weren't supposed to tell anyone until we went to the doctor. Everything has been backed up to SHT, so we can't get into a doctor until late October. Then my sister became sickly sweet, asking if it was true. I just nodded because I tried to say something but vomit came out. So this is what Oz told me because I had my face buried in a garbage can. TS was smiling and coming up to me, saying how she's going to become an aunt, when my boss stepped in front of her. He told her to leave, and they started arguing. Oz helped me up by putting me into a room to try to get away from the noise because I was covering up my ears and telling them to stop screaming. I was sitting on my bed, and Oz was making me use my inhaler because I was having trouble breathing. I was just freaking out bad. Oz was trying to calm me down when my sister came in and made me choose between my boss or her. Oz said, "Do you really think she would choose you?" And my sister explains how I'm her sister, and nothing breaks a twin's bond. I just looked at her and, I don't know how to describe, so I'm going to put it in Oz's words. It was like a red airplane flying overhead with a banner. See this? This is a red flag. I looked at my sister and then my boss, and I thought about all the good Mr. Smith did for me. He's everything to me. When I had no one, Mr. Smith was there. When I was sad, depressed, self-harming, or just wanted to be around someone. He was there for me. He came top aid for every art show, guitar, violin, piano recital. He bought my instruments. He bought my first computer. And he treated me like one of his kids. He encouraged me. He pushed me to be greater than I think I am. He didn't discourage me. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. He's my best friend. He applied me with so much alcohol. He protected me from my family and his. He opened up his home to me. He did not have to do it, but he did it anyway. I love him. Then I thought about all the things my sister did for me. It's love there, it truly is, but there is a lot of misery and regret. So I took a deep breath and said with all the pride my broken mental state arse can produce, "Get the hell out of my dad's house." She was flabbergasted, and I had a smile on my face. The boss screamed, "You heard the bee, get the F out." My sister was like, "You're going to regret this." "No, I won't," and she stormed off. Not before she grabbed my tablet off the shelf and threw it at my head. It missed and smashed right into the wall, shattering the screen. As she stormed out of the house, she screamed, "You're going to be a terrible mother." And I screamed back, "I'm going to be a better mother than you are." After that, I just broke. I became a crying mess. It's been a few hours since, and I talked to my mom about the money situation. I am willing to buy her the things she needs, but she's not getting my money for herself. If she wants it, she has to go through me. Oz and Mr. Smith are proud of me. I don't know how to feel. I'm sad and scared, and I'm questioning things. This is a setback in my therapy, and my paranoia is being DCK at the moment. If I want a relationship with my nephews, I can just go to my mom's house. She watches them. So I'm not worried about that. I'm tired. But Grandpa, thank you. You greeted me with open arms and love. You are the most kind-hearted man I've ever met, and I will never forget you. It's still hard for me to walk into Grandma's house and not see you in your chair. I still play your voice recording of you singing The Little Dudes, and they miss you just as much as I do, and I played it for their sister also. The boss has custody of her. We don't know where her dad is. I think that's a good thing. She doesn't remember you, but I'm going to tell her about you. She's turned 2 in a few months, and she is a ball of energy, just like her brothers. Your other grandchildren are still the same, but the middle one is talking more in public. He's doing a lot better than he was. My boss is doing his best to be a good dad and uncle. You raised a good man. He is an amazing person, and I see you in him all the time. He got back in contact with his youngest daughter. They go for coffee once a week. They're making up. I finally convinced him to go to therapy. He stopped drinking, and at the moment I'm trying to get him to stop smoking. He's better. But sadly he caught cancer. But we caught it early, and he's going to chemo. I'm taking care of him like you asked me to. I'm mad we couldn't get your chair back, but I still have the memories and pictures of you making it. And I wish you were here to hold your very first great-grandchild. If it's a boy, we are going to name it after you, and I'm going to tell them about you. And your bad arse. Don't give a F, putting Karens in their place. Exal Altiged van G Houden. For Altiged en Verter. I still don't know how to spell in Dutch. To change the mood, the kids came back from the outing with Grandma, and when they left the house this morning, they had normal clothes on. So when they came back dressed as ducks, I asked what happened to their normal clothes, and one of the twins looked me in the eye and straight up said, "We don't know, we just got caught up with Quack." I can't even be mad at that. Do y'all want more stories about my grandpa? Because I have one story that is my favorite, and it's when he called Karen a low battery, please charge, sounding RSP. He called her that because we just got him Bluetooth headphones and didn't like the voice. I miss you, Opa. Update. Everybody knows now how evil my twin sister is because she decided to push me at her son's birthday party. Here we go again. My English is not the best, so I apologize. This is a short version of the whole situation. Also, this is going to hit some heavy themes. A couple days ago was my nephew's birthday. He turned 2, BTW. So I was helping my mom put up decorations when my twin sister came into the backyard with the birthday boy, his baby brother, and the husband. My mother immediately turns her attention to my baby nephew and uses that grandma voice that all grandmothers use, you know what I'm talking about. My nephew runs up the stairs for my brother. I yelled, "Happy birthday" to him, and that's how my sister noticed me. "What are you doing here?" she said. And in her usually pissy tone, my mom immediately snapped at her. "Do not start. This day is about my grandson, not the two of you. So zip it, lock it, and put it in your damn pocket." My sister did not dare argue with our mother, so she kept her mouth shut. Fast forward a little bit. I started setting up chairs when my boss came back with the kids. My sister asked what he was doing here, and that he wasn't allowed to be around her kids. My boss and my mom reminded her that my boss is paying for the whole thing, and that they planned this. And he isn't going to have a little boy suffer because adults got into a fight. So the party was going well, everyone was wearing masks, and there were only 9 kids and 9 adults. Surprisingly not the most chaotic. My sister left me alone. The boss's younger son wasn't trying to climb on SHT like he usually does. My older sister didn't try to be inappropriate with my boss like she usually does. And the twins didn't try to bite someone. However, peace soon ended. So we sang happy birthday to my nephew, cake and ice cream binge eating, and I noticed my baby nephew was awake. I went over to him and tried to take him out of his car seat. My twin asked what I was doing, and I said, "Look, I understand that you're upset with me, but I'm holding my nephew." All of a sudden she pushed me. My twin sister pushed me hard enough that I was on the ground, and she happily explained to her baby that TT doesn't get to hold you, 'cause she won't give us money, so I'm just laying on the ground. Like, is she serious? I got up, took a deep breath, and thought to myself, you're pregnant. Don't be stressed by her effing stupidity. This is your nephew's birthday. His mom is stupid. Just breathe. I looked around. I knew one saw it. I reminded myself to tell mom later. All right, we're good. I was walking when I heard, "Did you just push her?" I turned and saw one of my boss's sons. More importantly, I saw it was one of the twins, and my immediate thought was, OSHT, for people don't know, my boss's twin sons are chaotic little bastards. They will beat you up and not feel guilty about it. They crave violence, like sustenance. They're very protective of their family. They act like guard dogs to point where their oldest brother called them Chihuahua and Pomeranian. So, the Chihuahua threw his cake and ice cream at my sister, and I mainly grabbed him because he was about to go for her hair. The Chihuahua with a screaming and thrashing about, saying how he was going to get my sister and let me go. I'm going to beat her arse. The Chihuahua is getting very strong and big now, and I can't hold him back by myself anymore. So I called my boss to get his kid. My boss grabs his kid and tries to calm him down. Everyone was staring, and my siblings were coming up, and my mom asked what happened. I told her I'd tell her about it later, when someone pointed out how I was bleeding. My hand was bleeding, and I didn't realize it. And that was enough for Chihuahua to spit more venom. See, she's bleeding. It's her fault that Alize's bleeding. She's bleeding because she pushed her. He was screaming this while he pointed at my sister. The Chihuahua was swinging his arms and trying to break free from his dad. My mom asked if it was true, but before I could say anything, my boss started screaming at my sister. Are you crazy? Yes, she is. You push a pregnant woman? She's pregnant, you know she is. I was trying to calm him down, and I got asked if I was pregnant. I said yeah, then my twin sister started calling me a liar. And say that I'm just looking for attention. I wasn't trying to yell, so I calmly explained that I was pregnant, and that I wasn't going to hear her effing bullshit and try to walk away. But my twin sister is evil, and what the song's sweet-sounding voice, she said, oh, so chipper. Oh deacon butt, I finally learned how to spell it. I yelled at her not to call me that. Then she started to laugh. She won. She got under my skin. My twin was like, what? You don't like when I call you that? Then she proceeded to call me that over and over again and started laughing harder as I started screaming at her to shut up. She hasn't called me that since 2020, and I don't know why she's decided to call me that now. Maybe the fact that my boss was there. I don't know. So people were yelling. I was crying. Then my boss asked me what that meant. I never told him that my sister knew about what his brother did to me, because I was just so afraid to be a burden, and with my paranoia, I was trying to downplay or try to rationalize what happened. I started blaming myself for it. Then my sister decided to make fun of me for it, and that's when the abuse went to the back of my mind. I said in Dutch, remember when I told you about what your brother did to me on the family trip? Well, deacon butt is a play on words. He thought about it. But my boss had no idea what I'm trying to say. So I was like, bro, my twin sister is making fun of me for being sawed by your brother. My boss was bewildered. That was definitely not something he was expecting me to say. So he just stared at my sister, then back at me, and then said, get her. My boss let the Chihuahua loose, and he charged right at my sister. He was out for blood. But my brother-in-law's sister's husband and my brother grabbed the Chihuahua before he could reach her. My sister was scared, saying how could my boss let that beast go? My mom was yelling the same things in her defense. She knows how hard the Chihuahua hits. My boss looked at me and said, does my mom know? I shook my head no. He sighed and said that we're leaving. I was grabbing the little kids, and my boss was trying to handle the Chihuahua, but he wasn't done. She hurt my mom. Let me go. I'm going to kick her ass. My sister said that I wasn't their mom, and that when my new baby comes, I will forget all about them. Well, that hit a nerve. But before I could do anything, Ethan, the middle child, started crying and ran out of the backyard. My boss went after him, and I was about to go help him. But my sister accidentally, I don't think she meant to say that out loud, said, "Let the retard run." Everyone went silent and just stared at her. My sister immediately covered her mouth and started apologizing to who? Not sure. Now something about me. I don't give an SHT what you do to me. I still have that. Even though you're hurting me, I will be afraid to hurt you mentality. I don't like hurting people. I got beat into submission, and with my mental breakdown when I was 17, it kind of messed me up mentally as well. But if you hurt someone I love, you better pray to God that your legs run fast enough. I saw red. I went up to my sister and slapped her right across the face. I pimp slapped her arse. I hit her so hard that I knocked out of her chair. She made my baby cry, and I will never forgive her for that. Everyone was in awe because I'm the last person to get violent. The Chihuahua let out a loud, "Yeah." I told my sister not to talk badly about my kids, and that Ethan is smarter than she is. I handed off the little kids to my oldest sister, and told her and my brother to put the kids in the car, while I went to get the Chihuahua twin. I went into the house and woke up Pomeranian. He was taking a nap. I told him it was time to go and help him to the car. I went back into the house to clean off my hands, and I heard a lot of yelling from the backyard. My sister was crying. My siblings were buckling the youngest in their seats when my boss came back with a sobbing Ethan. He hugged me, saying please don't forget about them, and he would be good. It broke my heart. Ethan's autistic, and for a while now I became his mom, because he wanted a mom that was normal, aka don't discourage his dark-colored skin, and that I was patient with him. Then I became his and his brother's legal guardian. At first I was just Lee. Now he calls me Miss Mom. The youngest two call me Sissy, while the twins besides your occasional B just started calling me Mom. I explain how I will never leave them. Even though I'm going to have a baby, and those babies need a lot more care, I will always love them. They're my little dude. The car ride home was silent, besides Chihuahua exclaiming how I knocked a bee into next Tuesday. I explained to my fiancé what happened. He was pissed for what my sister did, and for me for getting his cake. I love his high arse. I talked to my and my sister's childhood friends, and they asked what the hell happened. I just said that is what my twin sister is really like when no one's around. They saw her true colors. Eventually I went back for more cake because my fiancé wouldn't stop bothering me, and Mom and I talked. I explained how hurt I am, how effed up I became because of my twin sister, and how my mom made things worse when she made me forgive her, and how I tried to ask for help, but she talked but didn't listen. I brought up my self-harming, and how I wasn't allowed to tell my at-time therapist. My mom said that she was afraid I might get put in a mental hospital, and I said, well, maybe I would have gotten some effing help. My mom apologized. The boss encouraged me to tell her what D can but means. My mom was horrified. I cried, and I asked, why does my sister hate me? My mom doesn't know her own damn self. Also, she's excited for my little baby. My boss and my brother-in-law talked today. He apologized to me for his wife's actions. He didn't know she was like that. I think she's bipolar. One moment she said, you'd be lucky to not be strangled. My boss exclaimed how he is willing to start a college fund for my nephews. My sister overheard that and came in, saying how she doesn't need his money from a man that despised and looked down on her family. The boss said, I do not look down on your family. You're struggling, and I completely understand that. My family came from nothing for years. We barely scraped by. Sometimes we didn't know when we were going to eat. I know how you feel. I've been in your shoes once before, and let it be known that I do not despise or look down on your family. I just hate your guts. He was holding that in for years. I'm okay. I'm tired, yes, but I'm okay. We're going on vacation soon, before fall comes. Just a little beach house that my boss owns. I really liked it there. It's nice and quiet. I know I said I'm going to write a story about my grandpa, but I'm just going to step away from social media for a while. I don't know why my twin sister is so evil. My boss said it's because she has my dad's blood in her. I don't know how to do this. However, I will say this. Does my twin sister count as an entitled mom? Update. My sister is holding my nephews for ransom, trying to ruin my relationship with my fiancé. Got our dad involved, and she wants my full $300,000 inheritance. This is the shortest version I can make of these stories. My English is garbage, and I tried to catch a lot of grammar mistakes, but I definitely missed some. So a couple days ago, My brother-in-law called me and said, "Hey, your mother is in a lot of pain, and she's tired. Can you watch my kids? I have to go to work." I wanted to see my nephews, so I said yeah. Recap for the people that don't want to click the link. My twin sister's TSF'd me up physically and mentally for years. And I just found that out because she wanted a lot more of my inheritance money that I was originally giving to her. And she sold my grandfather's chair if. However, everyone found out she was an arse because she decided to push me at her son's birthday party. So she's not talking to me. She's blocked me on everything, and she is blaming me for her actions. However, I've been checking up on her and her husband, and she's losing her SHT. But she is not letting me see my nephews until I give her her portion of my inheritance. My nephews spent about 5 hours here. Then my phone rings. I picked it up, and my twin sister immediately started yelling at me. "Why do you have my kids?" I told her to calm down, and she started yelling at me more. "Why do you have my kids? You know you're not allowed to be around my kids anymore. Mom watched them. They're fine going to mom's." I remind my sister that our mother is handicapped, and she cannot chase a toddler I'm around and take care of a 3-month-old baby by herself anymore. That's why I always go over there to help. Well, apparently, I'm not allowed to see my nephews because I won't give her my inheritance money, and she was on her way to pick him up. She hung up, and I immediately called my brother-in-law. He said he would meet TS there and try to calm her down. My brother-in-law beat TS and arrived first. A few minutes later, TS arrived and started arguing in the driveway. I was from the upstairs window because I wasn't in the mood to deal with her SHT. My fiancé took the kids outside and put them in my brother-in-law's car. Then they left. About 5 minutes later, my twin sister called me and explained how I shouldn't talk to her, to talk to her husband, that I chose my family and kicked her out of my life. I was like, what about my nephews, y'all? I heard the smugness through the phone. Well, if you were to see my kids, I would like that $100,000 you promised me. No, I want the whole $300K. I deserve back for all the trouble you caused me. I sat there dumbfounded. I asked, "You want all my inheritance now?" And my sister said, "Well, if you want to see your nephews, yeah. She is holding my nephews hostage because I won't give her some of my inheritance. And now you want all of my money." I just hung up the phone. F that noise. My brother-in-law apologized for TS again, and I said, "This is not your fault. Stop apologizing." He said hopefully me and TS can be sisters again, but I told him that probably won't be anytime soon. I told my boss what happened when he came home, and he shook his head and said, "I'm too old for this SHT." However, that is not over. So this morning, Oz, my fiancé, fake name, woke me up and explained that we needed to talk. He asked me if I ever slept with Zeke, a friend of my boss, fake name. I was confused. Oz showed me his phone, and my twin sister, like the scummy bee she is, sent my Oz old screenshots of conversations with me talking about my sexual experience. See, my sister likes to get other people in trouble. She did this with all of our siblings. If TS is in trouble, she would use something you have done or told her in confidence to get you in trouble, just to get the heat off of her. So my twin sister told my fiancé about all of the sexual things I did with the caption, "She's not so innocent as she seems." I originally told Oz that Zeke was just one of the people that I did something strange for a little change. However, the screenshots that my sister sent him explained the truth that Zeke and I were in a 4-month relationship. So me and my twin sisters are dirty bastards. I went into great detail about the relationship, and I understand why Oz was upset. It was supposed to be a one-time thing. Zeke got back with his ex-wife. I felt like he used me, and we never spoke about it again. And I never told Oz about it, because it's kind of hard to explain that I was 18 and slept with a damn near 50-year-old man. It wasn't healthy for either. He wanted a warmed mouth. I got attached. He apologized. But I never really told anyone about it besides my sister and one of my boss's kids. I'm friends with his kids, and the last time I talked with him was when I was playing Phobia with his daughter. We are friends now, but it took me a long time for me to be in the same room as Zeke. Oz and I talked some more, and things settled down. But this isn't over. Enter my dad. So I've been getting a lot of calls recently from numbers I don't recognize, and I don't answer them. But this morning I woke up to a phone call. I thought it was one of my friends, so I answered it. I was surprised when an angry Egyptian man started cussing at me. "Alize, what did you do?" I was like, "Who is this?" Then he yelled at me in Arabic, and I realized it was my dad. He started screaming, saying how I'm really hurting my sister. I'm taking food out of his grandchildren's mouth, and that my sister needs that money. I don't respond to anyone talking to me in Arabic. You can only talk to me in English. But in Arabic, I will not respond to you. I don't call myself Egyptian because I try to disconnect myself from my father. And the only time I talk to him is when to check in on him, because he's currently dying. So I said, Dad, I'm not going to talk to you if you keep talking to me in Arabic. Speak English. He stopped and talked to me in English. It was quiet. Then he started ranting on me about how I could disrespect my culture. Blah blah blah. And I just hung up on him and did not take any more of his call and went back to sleep. Until the boss came in on the phone saying my dad was at our old house screaming at his nephews who are the new owners. I rolled out of bed and drove to the old house. And when we arrived, my sickly dad and my stepmother were yelling and banging on the front door looking for me. I just rolled down the window, and they both charged at the car, and I asked my dad what the F was he doing. They immediately started screaming at me out of breath. You are an ungrateful child. You're disrespectful. Your sister does everything for you. You've always been jealous of her, her business, her successful career, of her husband, and you're jealous that you're single and you don't have a man, and no one will love you because you're fat and ugly. This is usual from them, because my twin sister was the favorite among the two of us. I didn't really recognize it until I got older. TS got bikes, more food, and prettier clothes. And my mom always was pissed when dad gave her twin sister things, and then they gave me nothing. And my father's other children took their hatred for my twin sister and put it on me. The only one I bonded with was my transgender sister. Eventually, I stopped going over there because I was getting sick and tired of being mistreated. Oz rolled up the window and asked what I wanted to do. Call the big guns or call the cops. I was sad, tired, and wanted to go back to sleep. I don't want my sickly father and stupid stepmothers to go to jail. I looked at my dad as my stepmother spit on and banged on the window, then said, Call the cavalry. Who is the cavalry? Do y'all remember Philip? You know that 6'8", 300 pounds. Pure muscle, tattooed Muslim man with autism that can crush your head between his hands without even trying. So, the man that lives in my boss's old house was Philip, and he came out pissed as hell. My dad and stepmom cowered immediately when they saw him. He stood by the car door and just looked terrifying as usual. My fiancé and I got out to talk to my sperm donor. I took a deep breath and calmly asked what they were looking for. My dad, like the stubborn bastard he is, started screaming again. But with one loud, "Shut up," from Philip, he immediately stopped. I sighed and told my dad to go home, but it was too early for them to be out. My stepmother looked me up and down and called me a W because I was in my nightgown and not wearing pants. Oz took one look at my stepmother and commented on her mustache. She covered her mouth, and I busted out laughing. My dad was about to yell again, but stopped and remembered that I was using my guide dog privileges. Philip. My stepmom told Oz that he was rude, and my dad asked who he was. I introduced Oz as my fiancé. They were shocked. Now when I say Oz is out of my league, I am Jabba the Hutt, and he is Princess Leia. Yeah, that level of out of my league. Maybe it's because he is constantly high, or that he's dumb that Oz is willing to settle this low. So if your lowlife, fat as hell, unattractive daughter tells you she is marrying this red-headed, ex-football player, man-child, eyebrows will be raised. My stepmother called me a liar, and I just pointed to my engagement ring. Oz shook out his hand to my father and said, Nice to meet you, Dad. My dad just stood there. This man has called me every name under the sun to make sure I knew I was trash, and no man will ever love me. It finally hit him that I am lovable, and I can get a man that is built like a Greek god. And it pissed him off. See, my dad wanted me to marry a man from his home country, to a point where he would try to set up an arranged marriage and try to sell me off to the most disgusting man you ever saw. He started screaming, You can't marry this man. You can't marry this man. You can't marry this man. I am your father. You have to listen to me. Philip was about to step in, but Oz beat him to it. Shut up, you two-faced jackass. You're just as B.I.E. and catty as T.S. My dad said that Oz shouldn't have called his daughter a B, and Oz screamed, What the F is AmITheA then? Because you've been calling her out of her name, insulting her this whole time. You are a poor excuse for a man, and God, I hate you. Now you have two options. Stay. And this huge motherfucker gestured to Philip can make you die quicker. Or you could also stay, and this dude pointing to Philip again charges you with trespassing. And that person behind you, the cop who lives across the street that was also watching the whole thing, can arrest you. So are you going to piss off? My stepmother was like, So you're just going to sit there and let this man insult your father like this? And Oz said, He isn't her father. Any man can be a dad, but it takes a real man to be a father. With that, my father let out a stormed off to the car, dragging his wife with him. After that, I just needed a hug. I didn't cry, so that's good. It was a weird experience, but I needed to do that. I needed to confront my dad even though I didn't do the talking. It still felt good to get it off my chest. I thanked the cavalry for helping me, and he told me to pay him back in pizza. And now I am getting phone calls and text messages from relatives that I haven't talked to in a long time, because my dad went to my Instagram and took one of my photos of me and Oz and acted like a proud father on Facebook, saying that he's proud that his lovely daughter is engaged. Thank God he doesn't know I'm pregnant. Update. You should kill that baby like you killed the first one, my twin sister. Everyone. My sister is an arsehole. This just happened. So, I am in the family group chat talking about my baby. Then my brother-in-law came in and said, "You should kill that baby like you killed the first one. That baby is going to be miserable. You should just get rid of it since you already have experience in that field." Well then. Okay, back in the early part of 2020, I got pregnant when I was 19. I had an abortion, soon found out because I don't want my mom to know. But my boss's daughter found out, and her, and B of mother, started giving me SHT for it, to a point where I tried to kill myself. Then my boss's daughter told my mom and tried to ruin my relationship with her. It didn't work. But the only thing that happened is I can't live in my mom's house anymore because it's tainted for me. It has brought my mom and me together. And now my mom doesn't hate my boss like she used to. I'm still not over the abortion, and it's still hard for me to not cry. So the SHT, my sister said. Yeah, I felt like a punch in the gut. How do I know it was my sister instead of my brother-in-law? Because my brother is not an arsehole and my sister is mute in the chat. So being about me through her husband's cell phone is the next best option. I'm not going to deal with that today, and it's not even noon yet. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep, and I am going to play Stardew Valley, try to date Sam, and go back to bed. Also, can we talk about how much my sister bounces between not believing I'm pregnant and believing I'm pregnant? I don't know. I just think she needs a muzzle. Update. My twin sister lied about my nephew dying to try to get money out of me, then told me to kill myself and my unborn baby. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes, I guess this goes here as well, and I feel like y'all appreciate this too. So this happened last night. My English is not the best, so forgive me for grammar mistakes. Also warning, this is going to get dark kinda. It was about 3 a.m. when I woke up to my phone going off. TS is for twin sister. And this is a short version of the text messages. TS. AmITheA. TS. AmITheA, I'm sorry. Please talk to me. TS. AmITheA. TS. AmITheA, respond to me. Me. Thinking that this was my dad, F off, dad. It's 3 in the morning. TS. This is T's. Me. Oh, F off, T's. It's 3 in the morning. TS. I need to talk to you. TS. Please hear me out. Me. Didn't you tell me not to talk to you or your family? TS. That was in the past. Time to focus on the present. Me. Didn't I block you? I took y'all advice and blocked her arse. TS. Dodging the question. Don't worry about that. I just need to talk to you. It's really important. TS. It's about your nephew. Now my nephews are everything to me. So when I saw that, my attitude changed. Me. What's wrong? Is he okay? TS. He needs emergency surgery that can save his life. TS. The doctors found something wrong with his heart, and Junior needs surgery, or else he's not going to make it. TS. We don't have the money for it. That's why I'm turning to you. I know we have had our difficulties in the past, but I need you to give me that money for Junior. I fell for this because my brother-in-law's family does have a history of heart problems, and my nephews are everything. I was crying. My boss has power of attorney, I believe that's what it's called, and I can take some of my money out of my inheritance. I don't want my nephew to die. He just turned 2. Me. How much? TS. 133,000 inches. Me. I'll see what I can do. TS. Thank you so much. This means so much to my family, more than you think. Then something hit me. My boss and my brother-in-law are very close. Like talking on the phone every night, level of closeness. Because my boss doesn't want my brother-in-law to turn into him, to be a doormat. He doesn't want my brother to feel like he has to stay in an unhappy marriage and always have an out through my boss. Well, the night before this, my boss was talking to my brother, and he didn't say anything about my nephew's health. In fact, my brother-in-law showed off my nephew's Halloween costume, and my nephew looked adorable and healthy. I feel like an idiot. But I thought about that TS was telling the truth. Maybe they found out that my nephew's health is at that moment, so I wanted to test her. My brother-in-law is not with her at the moment, so this was a perfect time. Me. So I talked to my brother-in-law. T's, why are you lying? TS. What? TS. Why would you do that? TS. You couldn't leave well enough alone, can you? Yup, I'm stupid. Me. I didn't say SHT to him. Why the hell would you do that? Me. Using my nephew's health to squeeze money out of me. That is so low. TS. You are so selfish. Give me that money. You won't give me it, so I have to do what I have to do. Me. So you decided to lie about your son needing medical surgery that can possibly save his life. What the F is wrong with you? TS. No, what the F is wrong with you? You think you're hot SHT, flaunting around your wealth? B. I still use misplay taking pictures of you and your fiancé and posting them everywhere. Isn't that what couples do? You just trying to upstage me. The family, as a rich person, my boss's family. You don't need that money. Give it to me, and I can put it to good use. Me. Piss off. Me. I'm so stupid for falling for that. TS. Are you still pregnant? That one stunned me because she doesn't ask about my pregnancy, and she flip-flops between being rude about it and doesn't believe me. Me? What? TS. Are you still pregnant? And if you are, you should kill yourself. I just stared at my phone. It wasn't something I was expecting from her. I should have been expecting it because she told me to kill my unborn child already. TS. You should kill yourself and your baby, 2 birds with 1 stone. You already tried to kill yourself once. Just go through with it this time. You're just going to be a terrible mother anyway, and no one loves you. Not mom, not brother, not sister, not your boss, not your fiancé, not no one. We all hate you. And if you have that baby, it's going to hate you just like we do. So just do it. And she would go on and on and on. She got to me. She broke me. I just laid back on my bed and cried, while my twin sister was still telling me to kill myself. So I was just thinking that maybe she's right. Maybe I wouldn't be a bad mother. Is this world better without me? It was my baby, or I'm just allergic to my twin sister's bullshit because I started vomiting. All over my bed. I ran to the bathroom to vomit in the toilet, and my hair got into the toilet as well. So, my hair was covered in vomit and doo-doo water, and I was crying. Then I was surprised to feel a tiny baby hand patting my back. I looked up to find the youngest son, Peter, patting my back, saying, "It's okay, let it out." He is the sweetest little 4-year-old I have ever met. Eventually Peter left and came back with his dad, and my boss immediately went to dad mode when he saw me. My boss helped me up and washed my hair for me. He was drying my hair when I asked, "Do you love me?" My boss thought I was joking but realized I was serious. TS got that under my skin. My boss said, "Ladybug, I wouldn't be taking care of your high yellow arse if I didn't love you." That made me cry more because I feel I didn't deserve his love, and I told him as such. He was consoling me when I said I'm going to be a bad mom, that I'm going to F up with this kid, and that I'm already effing up with his kids. Then Peter said as he ate out of a box of mini wheats, "You're doing your best, and that's okay." He just shrugged, put another handful of mini wheats in his mouth, and then went to his room. Peter doesn't know how much those words helped me. After this, my boss chilled with me until I fell asleep. I didn't tell my boss what happened last night, and he knows that if he pushes things, I will bury them. So when I show my boss the message that my sister sent me this morning, I don't know how to describe how he felt in that moment other than, I want to commit murder. He was so mad, and I have to physically stop him from leaving the house and kicking my sister's arse. But one of those comments sent both of us over the edge. My twin sister said, "Be careful around your boss. He might pull a that man on you." T's mean Lucifer. Lucifer forced me to give him oral when I was 18 and proceeded to groom me and saw me when I was 19. Hell, I can say, be careful around your sister. She might pull a TS on you. Because she did the same SHT to me, plus the several years of torture, and her thinking my boss might do the same thing. I have never wanted to sicken 2 violent-filled 9-year-olds on someone more than I wanted to do at that moment. Boss asked what I wanted to do. I told him I don't want my fiancé to know about this because I don't want to ruin his trip. And I want my mother to know. So that's what we did. We just took screenshots of the messages and sent them all to my mother. And I never ever saw that sassy French black woman piss more before. And my boss told my brother-in-law about it because he has the right to know what his wife is doing, and that he felt like she isn't safe to be around kids. My brother-in-law gave my sister an ultimatum to go to therapy and a psych evaluation or divorce. And she isn't getting the kids. I don't think they're getting a divorce, but my brother-in-law is over here with my boss, as he filed paperwork for a new apartment that my boss is helping him set up. My twin sister is losing her mind, calling my brother-in-law, my boss, and me, going between pleading and begging to get the kids back, or being a rambling mess. I am okay after everything. I just need a hug, and I'm doing okay. TS just got to me, and I am better than I was last night. The boss had a long talk, and he wanted me to know that I was love, and I finished it with the usual, I love you, white dad. He responded in kind with, I love you too, black daughter. Now I'm about to crochet me a ghost, and I'm highly debating with myself about whether to give it boobies or not.